petition for constitutional change. They made this petition indirectly through the county assemblies and parliament, and the record of parliament attests to the fact that the people of Kenya wanted a constitutional change, but a few individuals sat down in a back room and they decided otherwise.
Definitely is the second part of taking a look at the State of the Nation address by President Uhuru Kenyatta earlier this week. So many complained that he took so many hours reading a very unnecessary speech. I don't know why that should be coming up, but nonetheless, he mentioned something about the constitutional changes, and Raila Odinga in Nakuru, he reiterated the same and said that at the right time, the BBI process will be resuscitated. But they went to the Supreme Court to seek more judgment from there, which might be taking more time, and hopefully it might be during the upcoming election and the incoming government that will be handling it. But we did ask you, would you vote for a presidential candidate endorsed by President Uhuru Kenyatta? Would you vote for a presidential candidate endorsed by Uhuru Kenyatta? With me in studio is Sakwa Bunyasi, Member of Parliament Nambale. We do have Nurdin Kagai, who is a lawyer and a constitutional expert, who is an aspiring politician as well. He will be running for a seat in Dagoretti North, not forgetting Teddy Mwambire, who is a Member of Parliament from Ganze, in studio. Let's talk about the politics of the day. Today, ANC launched its online platforms. Sakwa Bunyasi, you guys, what is happening? What is the future of Oka? Is it dead? Is Oka dead?
Oka is a potential coalition. It's not a current coalition because they haven't ratified instruments of coalition, of cooperation that will create the coalition. So it is a grouping of intent. There are processes underway, and if all the necessary things are fulfilled, it could end up in signing instruments of cooperation which will create the coalition. I think those conversations so far in an organization that's not yet tied down by legal instruments has done pretty well. Continuous consultation and so on. Now, if until the instruments of coalition of cooperation are signed to create a coalition, then we would say we do have a legal entity called Oka. Now we have an organizational instrument that is providing an opportunity to work together among different groupings. And if that does turn out into a coalition or something similar, it will be a very substantial coalition. If that turned out, but that's work in progress now. And at the global level, we loosely are saying, I heard my colleague talk about the numbers that Raila would have in the independence Kanu side of things.
Yes.
But circumstances, he said earlier about Uhuru in 2002, the circumstances were different. Circumstances were really different in 1963, where they cast the argument. And I was reasonably grown up at the time. When we got independence, I was already 17.
Yes.
I was able to read the newspapers, and I took sides, even though I did not vote.
Sure.
That Kanu was cast as one that does not want independence, once was Zungus to stay, and Kanu was the one that wanted them out.
Yes.
That was a propaganda that actually did work. They differed on the timetable, they differed on the policy positions, and so on. So I think the situation now would possibly, definitely be different. And you can see how things are emerging in Western, for example, which is a very important voting bloc, where Raila has always benefited from, has a resurgence of internal nationalism, so to call it, patriotism, so to say, that is going to be inimical to his interests, I'm sure. The coast, which you know well, is now a mixed bag. They are also coming up again with the degree of nationalism that existed even at independence, for example, which would be a case that would apply relative to Honorable Mwambire's example. So the arithmetic, there's a lot in the arithmetic that has still got to be done. And
Yes.
as we speak, the reason that the parties involved, all the groups involved, including the president, are working so hard is because that arithmetic is not falling in place.
Would you work with ODM because the arithmetics are not falling in place as you had projected?
I think that you see, we have been. Now I talk as an ANC person.
Yes.
If you say would I as an ANC person, we've just been through that. We've been through that in NASA.
2017.
2017, yes. And I was on the committee, four-chair committee that was the management arm of that coalition. We were with Senator Orengo, myself, Senator Mdama, and I forget the fourth person.
Miguna?
No. I'll get a fourth person from Ford Kenya.
Yes.
And so on. Now, there are some difficulties in. It's like every marriage, things look nice from outside. You can marry the most beautiful model in the world. You could be, and both could be, and then things just don't work out. Everybody thinks they should, but they don't work out. And I think Honorable Musalia Mudavadi did describe it as a trust deficit. And I think in summary and in simplicity, let's keep it there. That was, I think, the biggest issue. But now, even though in politics everything is possible, as they say, who knew that one Uhuru Kenyatta would work with one Ruto? Who knew that one Raila would work with Uhuru? In the midst of violence, when people were dying on the street, negotiations were going on. Who knew that would happen? There was such a flip that took his closest ones by surprise. But that's not going to happen. I don't think you can repeat mistakes over and over and over. No.
All right. And Teddy, let's. You guys as ODM have said that you are going up to the end. You're going till August 8th, 9th, when the general elections will be done. But the issue of coalition in Kenya is still big. Would you be willing to work with ANC yet again?
We have no problem with the ANC. There are people we know better.
But they seem to be having a problem with
we,
you guys.
we know there are people we know better, and politics is a matter of interests. So if the interests are well catered in negotiations, then I don't think there will be any issues. And I believe you know very well that ANC, the bedrock of ANC is Western, where they believe to be having a very good following. So the interest that we also have in Western is that there are some votes which normally vote for ODM. We have both ODM supporters and ANC supporters. So what is there, we need to agree on where we should field which candidate, because last time we lost a number of seats in Western simply because of having a loose coalition. So if we agree and we support each other, I think that one will be much better. So but as ODM, we are still going to have a very good coalition, whereby we are going to have a number of parties. So me and Mheshimiwa Bunyasi, we cannot rule out anything, because all those issues are normally handled by our party leaders. So today maybe I might be having issues with Mheshimiwa Bunyasi, and we say we cannot work together. But the moment our leaders come together because of a convenience, then that one becomes necessary to do that. But in real sense, we have been working with the ANC. We are still working with them in Parliament. We are very close. We have been pushing together BBI, so we have no issues with them.
And still on BBI, this is what Right Honorable Raila Odinga had to say about it, and resuscitating it, he shows some sense of optimism as he gears towards maybe winning the presidential elections next year, and maybe bring back now the BBI in full force and give it to the people. Let's listen in.
We are going to have, reggae is going on halftime. When reggae is on half-time, it will come back. Period and a layer. So I'm inviting people to come to Nairobi on the 10th of this month, when we are going to talk about Azimio la Umoja ya watu wa Kenya. Thank you.
So the deputy president is adamant that the BBI process is done and dusted because it went to the courts twice, but it failed to go through. But nonetheless, in studio are gentlemen who would give me reasons. Guys, just give me reasons why. What is there? What is remaining for BBI? Honestly speaking, Kagai.
You know, judging from what Raila is saying, you know, first and foremost, you have to be honest. Huh? You see, the BBI, there are some certain constitutional timelines that have passed. The BBI cannot. There are things like the constituencies, some things can't come. So if he's talking about the BBI, maybe he's talking, if he wins, he'll try to revive the BBI. Because as it is right now, the BBI can't come before the elections.
There's a case in court.
You see, even if they win at the Supreme Court, timelines are it is time barred. All right, it is for now. It is time barred. If he wins and wishes to do that, because there are instances where they talk about 100 days once they take office, maybe they'll try to do that. But the obsession of the BBI is too funny, because at the end of the day, the president during the SONA, he said it was a people initiative.
Yes.
And if you're going to be honest, it was never about the people.
Yes.
It wasn't a people initiative. The people didn't initiate it. You realize, and that is why they had pains to show that he is part of the people. You see, in court. So at the end of the day, and you know, going around and you know, making the comments he made about the judges isn't fair, because at the end of the day, you'll need the judges one day.
Yes.
So for me, I believe as a country, first and foremost, what bewilders us, you see, people talk about how you want to make us one, how we are going to fight ethnicity and everything. The problem is never with the people, it is with the leaders. Because right now, Otieno Kamau will watch football together. Today there's a football match between Arsenal and Manchester.
Yes.
You'll go around and there are people from different communities watching that game. But the moment we get to an election period, someone comes and reminds you that you are this tribe. It is the leader that comes and reminds you. So before you even talk about fixing whatever you want to fix, first fix yourself. You see, you cannot. Let me finish. You cannot dare fix the hardware when the software is rotten.
But according to the
president, it's the same with our politics. I'll tell you, it's the same with our politics. Do you know what ails the coalition formations? Because our politics is full of deceit, conmanship, and betrayal. And that is why you see. Let me tell you, that is why you see, Oka can be a very good force. But now there are issues where you realize people are talking about certain betrayal, certain meetings at night. It might be propaganda, you never know. So this, before we even solve about, you know, the issues about coalition, for them to work, there has to be trust.
But
right?
according to the
when
president,
the trust is broken, you can never have a coalition.
According to the president, he says that the winner-take-it-all argument is what BBI would cure. Would it be?
No, it won't cure that. That's one of the things it will not cure. Let me go back. I think it would be difficult to resuscitate BBI process in the structure and form that it had, even with the goals that it had, even after the election. The next election will not be a landslide. It's only if the pro-BBI side had a landslide that they could say they can ride on that and win. Maybe a close, maybe whichever side wins will be a close one. And so you won't have the implied mandate in the population to run on with it. It will be hard work. And I think it's the fundamentals that will make a problem with it. The problem was that Kenyans were concerned about post-election violence in the years it occurred. But if you look at it, all of the election violence occurred largely through state manipulation. All through, and in 2002, when there wasn't state manipulation, it was peaceful. But preceding that, 1997, and then 2007, when the results were quite clear, it was external manipulation that brought the violence. In 2013, we would have had the same outcome if it had not been decided and the ODM side decided to go along with it. Was it CORD? No, at that time. And in 2017, of course, we had the rerun. And the fundamental problem we have had is the inability to add numbers and report them as voted. So we can say, at the narrow end, we can say inability of IBC, even with the computers, to add correctly what the election results are and transmit to the people those results. That's what led to this. But they didn't do that. They were doing that because of manipulation externally, external to the IBC. BBI did not attempt in any way to deal with that. Only after the thing was nearing rejection towards the end were the issues of electoral systems again coming up, where we really have a problem. And you can see we're really beginning to have that challenge. And I'm glad that Chebukati refused to sit in so-called coordinating panel that is intended now to sort of help manage so that everybody's on the same side. That shouldn't happen. I think that we should just let the numbers be counted, and if Honorable Prime Minister has the numbers, as he has happened before in some of the coalitions he has led some of the elections, let that be the winner. And if an alternative person has the numbers, let that be the winner. They will run Kenya. They are not going to go away with any part of it anywhere. It will be here, and if they don't do well, they'll be thrown out the next election.
But then, talking about the elections, IEBC has just come out and said that, you know what, guys, we are not going to have a credible election if you are interfering with us. They withdrew from the elections preparedness team that had been constituted. Are we likely to have a free and fair election steady?
Yes, but allow me also to respond to the issue of BBI.
Sure.
I think in as much as we will be suspicious, or even though it is like the time is not with us, I still feel that BBI still has a number of issues which are very important to us. I'm talking as a person from an area or from a region whereby we have been manipulated for so long, just like my colleague from the Western. People who have not been, we have been familiaring as Kenyans, but not enjoying. So if we want to succeed, whoever is going to win must be in support of the BBI issues, most of the BBI issues. So let's agree, whoever wants to be a president, let's agree on a timeline, like what we did in 2007. When we say, after that we said that we want about 100 days or so, we're going to assassinate this thing. So that at least we can sit again and come up with those issues. Because one, we wanted a number of constituencies to be protected. Because currently they are loose, though we are going to vote as they are, but we are in danger. We are going to lose a number of constituencies in the country, and we might even lose some of the counties. For instance, in Lamu County, we are going to have only one constituency. Yes, because we have two constituencies, but if you look at the numbers, we are likely going to have only one constituency. So losing such constituencies will be a loss to us. So those are some of the issues that need to be addressed. And in the BBI, for instance, we had sought to be protected. They need to be protected. So if we protect them, it means that we are at least will be moving in a direction that at least will be very clear.
You seem to disagree.
But that's just a legal process, like we did last time. They were protected for 10 years. And that was coming to an end. It's a change of law, not a constitution.
We want the constitution.
The fight we have is changing the constitution, and there's no way you're going to get permanent protection in the constitution. Then it means you ignore all demographics. So the things that can be done administratively could probably have passed, including that one, without having to seek to change the constitution. That's, I think, where people have difficulty with. Even the revenue sharing of 35%, the law now says a minimum of, it doesn't prescribe a maximum. And where we lie in that sharing depends on the resources in the economy and willingness to go with devolution. That we could have achieved or began to achieve it even before that. But I want it.
You see, the challenge that we have in Kenya is that we don't have an angel. Whoever gets the position of the president will be looking at the region where he comes from, he or she comes from. That is the reason why we want protection. That's why I said for regions like Coast Region or even Western, whereby we have been overstepped, we need protection. And the protection will not just come out of a goodwill. Because someone will pretend to be good because they want to ascend to power. But when that person ascends, it becomes very dangerous to us. So to get protection, we need some clauses in the constitution which will be protecting us. That is what we want. So for me, what I think, I'm in agreement that time we are time bad, but we must get a way whereby we are going to bring up some of these issues. The number of issues in the constitution that need to be addressed, they need to be addressed. So we need to look at whether we are going to win in court or not. We need to sit and agree as Kenyans on how we can move forward. So the issue of the other one who is saying that we don't need BBI and all those things, we need to be very clear with this person, because we know very well that even in 2010 he did not support the constitution change. And when he got an opportunity to be the deputy president, who is now the chair of the intergovernmental relations, we are seeing a number of issues which are not going clearly. Even last time, he was invited to the devolution conference. He did not go. Why? Because he is not supporting devolution. So we know the kind of person we are dealing with.
We have less than 3 minutes to go, but we'll finish up on this whole BBI thing before we take your final remarks on the president's last State of the Nation address from Parliament.
You know, Cliff, I'm an optimist, and I heard him say that we don't have angels and ABCD. You know, the problem that builds Kenya is one: we vote on ethnicity and euphoria. That is why you end up with the clowns that we have in office. You know, you elect a clown, expect a circus, right? At the end of the day, I speak from like someone who comes from the school of leadership of Thomas Sankara. What do I mean when I say this? You see, when you talk about winner takes it all, that is a fallacy that is created at the end of the day. Because right now the president comes from Kikuyu, right? He's a Kikuyu community, right? Are they suffering as well with the harsh economy? They are, right? So at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that whenever you're being sworn as a president in the open, that's why they do it in public. Yes. You say, I'll be the president of the Republic of Kenya, not Nairobi, Kiambu, or Mandera.
Of Kenya.
So at the end of the day, it is upon you to realize that you serve everyone equally. So what we do, the problem is we keep repeating the same faces. And that is why we keep crying. We need a leader, not a politician. Distinction is, a politician is self-serving and self-seeking. A leader is a visionary, patriotic, and most importantly, someone who wants to come and serve the people. That is what we need going forward. So when we discuss, the sad reality is that this election, as you see it, is still going to be based on ethnicity and based on euphoria. So we need to mature to a point where we elect based on ideas, not mere rhetoric and not just mere euphoria. Because you have to realize, and this is the problem, people come into office with promises, they fail, they form a new party, come with a new party and get into office again.
Yes.
And that is what we need to move away from, so we can change this country going forward.
We should just be winding up because I'm told we do have 2 minutes before we go. I'm giving each of you 30 seconds before I take some of the feedback here. Starting with you, Sakwa Bunyasi. The president made his last State of the Nation address from Parliament. It is his last. Would you say that you have been independent as an arm of the legislature?
No. Well, we have a strong constitutional mandate, but that constitutional mandate, even in the design of the current one, is undermined to the extent that the party in Parliament that forms government tries to be loyal and has to be loyal to help get government agenda through. And this time it was quite substantial, below substantial. And later they were joined by ODM. And they were voting together entirely. So actually ODM effectively joined government. And that then gave them a super majority. There wasn't independence there. And because they then had to shore up the government, particularly after the president-deputy, there was a rupture, they couldn't frustrate that effort in Parliament. So that provided a supermajority that negated some of the oversight fundamentals, and I think he would agree.
You would
negated
agree with
the fundamentals of oversight. We had a problem there. We've changed the level of psychophancy from one side to the other. Now it's a super psychophancy.
All right, time is running out. Teddy, do you agree or do not? 30 seconds.
Okay, to some extent I agree, but it is not ODM. Even ANC are part of the mess. So we have joined the government in a way that there are some issues that sometimes we support because we expect that maybe it will get better. Because we wanted a way whereby at least we see things moving, because things were not moving, and the country was like collapsing. That's why we had to slow down our push, and in the process of slowing down, now Kenyans were unable to identify whether there is opposition or not. It is like the grand coalition government whereby everyone was almost in government.
Sawa sawa. Kagai, your last take.
30 seconds. The problem with our political parties is that they're not institutions, they are owned by individuals. That is why you listen when they talk, they say respect the party leader, respect the party position. Where does that leave you, me, and the rest who are expect them to represent us. So at the end of the day, they get whipped into a certain party line or party position, and they forget. So meaning when they get there, most of them serve the political master, become sycophants to reap benefits of that support. So we need to move away from that and have institutions instead of
we have independent members of parliament, and they're behaving worse than those who are in parties.
Sawa, asante sana gentlemen. Sakwa Bunyasi, member of parliament, Nambale, he will be running for governor next year. And someone says, Jamani, I can't vote for an endorsed presidential candidate. Raila is already a failure. I see my next Busia governor, Honorable John Sakwa Bunyasi. Simon Karisa, you are cheating yourself. That is Teddy. I think he's answering to you supporting a presidential candidate who has been endorsed by the Right Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. Someone here says, Mercy Masharia, my favorite TV show, 30 minutes past the hour. That's all we had for you on Tipping Point this Thursday. Next week, Frederick Mwitiriri will be coming back. The views expressed on this show are strictly individual views and do not portray the views of Switch TV. I've been your host, Kim Fondubi. Do have a good evening and keep watching Switch TV.